Hey everybody, this is Martine Brown. I'm coming into you live tonight. I'm hoping that everyone can hear me. I was working out a few last um technology issues, and once I get those worked out, we will get started. I'm so excited about coming in and talking to everyone about Um, a lot of the things that I've been wanting to just talk about and share. Just want to double check, make sure that everything's up and running. So just wanted to double check. I checked on this a little earlier. It's my first time doing this, so just bear with me. As I work through a couple of my little kinks I got that I'm trying to work out. All right, so I am popping in to talk to you guys about a little bit of everything. You know, the work that I'm doing with um Martine Brown, innovation specialist. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to hey Jenna, can't wait to um really just dive into all the things I want to talk about. Um the reason why I wanted to do this. Oh, I won't do that, Zach. I won't do that. The reason why I wanted to do this is I just think that true innovation, or this whole idea of like developing ideas to change our world, it takes all of us. And so each week I'm gonna just come in and share the things that I know. I have a couple people that um, have told me that they're willing to come in and we just hash out and talk about the things that are important to us and that we feel are like what we want to talk about. Um, I am right now. I'm trying to decide like what my design space wants to be. So today I'm like trying out my closet because I got small kids. So didn't want to be interrupted. Next week I'll probably try a different area in my house. Just kind of figure out, where I really want to make all of this happen. Um, so innovation specialist. A lot of people have asked me what what do I mean when I say that? So innovation is just the idea of coming up with new ideas. I specialize in coming up with new ideas. I spend most of my time, whether it be at work, at home, whatever, talking to people and helping them to develop their best uh, concept, idea, project. I'm a big believer in this process happening through dialogue, and so that's why I really want to be able to have these conversations. Um, so this week I want to talk about. I've got a couple of different segments. So my first segment is all about parents. I think a lot of the work that we do, regardless of what field we're in, as parents, we're just trying to make our kids proud, and do work that we believe in. And I want to talk about a specific tool that I've been using to help. Let me grab it. To help my kids with school. Oh, I'll have to go get it. I'll get it before we get off air. I'll get it. Um, So one of the things I've learned professionally is that it's super important that we create environments where um our kids get a lot of choice. Like they get to choose how they want to learn and what they want to learn. And so I've actually built like these flashcards, and um I'll drop a link to the ones that I've created in the comments feature, so I'll go back in and do that. And so a couple of things. I have a kid that's 5, so he's in kindergarten. And so one of the things that I decided to do is we took his sight words, and I actually made index cards. And so the index cards that come with these for him specifically are based on his interest, and typically cover the things that he really likes. I will. I could have sworn I brought them in here, but I'll go back and get them so that you can take a look at them. I included pictures. I included things he liked. I included pictures. I included sentences that really relate to the things that are truly important to him. And the first time I gave them to him, he was really excited, and like over time, he's became less excited, but he's still definitely involved, and he's connected to his cards because his cards are about him. I think that's a huge shift from how at least I grew up, and anybody my age or older grew up, because we weren't always given a choice. We were like given what we were supposed to learn. It was our responsibility to learn it. Um, Kind of made me think about when I look at my younger 2 kids now. They're so young, but even now at 5 and 3, they are have just been able to make so many choices. They choose what they want to watch on television. They choose, um, what kinds of shows and what their interests are, and with all of the algorithms that are in place, I just wanted to find a way to make that relevant while still tapping into, um, not being so heavy on the tech. I'm gonna drop in 2 links. The first one is the Canva website. I'm gonna put that just in the comments so that you can check it out. So I'm gonna drop that in the comments section. It's a really easy website to navigate. Um, I'm also gonna drop in Lakeisha. Who's tab? Okay. I'm also gonna drop in a girl's name. Her name is Lakeisha Sabar, and she actually is a graphic designer. So if you are not feeling comfortable, she's definitely a person you could reach out to and use her services just to kind of help you come up with your own design. So if you're a parent and you just feel like you may not be necessarily comfortable, I'm going to drop in um, her link as well, where you can reach out to her. So that's my first just little tidbit. Just when we're looking at parents and parenting, it's so important that we try to personalize even our own kids' learning as often as we can, because that's the only way they're going to be able to. Well, it's not the only way, but it's definitely one way to engage them and make the learning more about them. And to be honest with you, doesn't really. Canva itself is virtually free for this type of project. The most you'll have to pay for is to print, so you can use your home printer to print, or you can send it to Office Depot. If you're a perfectionist and you just you want all of the edges to be perfect and straight, then I would suggest you go to um, Home Depot and have them cut them and print them. So that's my first just little tidbit about uh, what we can do as parents to think outside the box, to be innovative, without it, taking away from the type of our day to day activities. What I actually do is I do a couple things. So instead of um, doing the tablet in the car, especially during daylight hours, I usually have my youngest son go through his cards. So and we'll do it if there's light, then we'll do it on our way to school, but definitely on the way home. So I keep these in my purse. We were at the bank a couple weeks ago, and while I was taking care of my banking, I gave him the cards. He worked on the cards. Um, and since he's kindergarten, any of you that have like younger kids, it's okay if he doesn't get every single word in the sentence correct, because he's learning how to read, which I didn't know. I didn't realize it in kindergarten. They started the process of teaching their kid like when I was in school. We didn't start that until they were first. We were probably first, second grade. So that was new to me. Um, and so what I've found is over time he's become more accurate with how well he is reading his sentences. But at first, he definitely filled in, and he kind of was able to use the pictures to um make decisions about like what he thought the sentence was saying. And that's okay too. Hey, Alice. I see you. Thanks for stopping in. Yes, camp. Yes, I'm gonna give tons of resources just because I feel like, um, as parents, we don't always feel like we have resources. Even though I'll probably do a segment on that. Even though most districts offer quite a bit, you just have. But the problem is most people don't know how to access it, and so I'm definitely going to um spend some time kind of showing you, like giving you a rundown on um how you can access the resources that are out there. So that's my bit. That's my parent corner. It's all about Canvas. That's the thing I'm really into. With the flashcards, I was telling a friend. She was like, "Oh my God, you have too many flashcards," and I was like, "Look, technology's great. I'm a tech person, but sometimes we have to pare it down a little bit and stick to the basics to help our kids be as successful as they can be." So, my next little piece I want to talk about is EDU, all things education. Right now, I have a couple things that I'm really passionate about as it relates to education. Um, Socratic seminars, which I know that I'm going to be talking about this later, but basically, in schools, really helping kids learn how to craft their discussions and helping them understand that not every discussion has to be an argument. And then the most important piece with that is using evidence to support how they feel. It's probably, of all the things I'm passionate about in EDU right now, it's probably in my um top three that I'm really excited about. I go all over the place talking about it, encouraging teachers and leaders and teacher leaders and principals and just anybody who will listen, to try that strategy with technology, with the idea that, listen, of all the skills we could teach our kids, teaching our kids to code, teaching our kids how good of an athlete they can be, or a basketball player, football, that all of that is great. But if they can't stand on a platform, especially with the the power that comes with social media, if they can't stand up on a platform and communicate their ideas effectively and support those ideas with strong, um, unbiased evidence, then we're doing them a just disservice. So that's one that I'm super passionate about, as far as education is concerned. My second one that I'm really passionate about is global communication, which is part of the reason why I'm starting this weekly series Because if I don't practice it, then how can I tell other educators to do it? This is a huge risk for me. Like I was kind of nervous about it. And I'm hoping to like continue this dialogue and make connections to not only improve as a person, but hopefully to help improve the lives of everyone around me, or at least the people that engage um, with this process. And my third is probably the achievement gap and how that gap affects students of color. Um, and that's related to not just the academic, but the social side of it, the emotional side of it, and then when we look at um, percentages of suspensions and expulsions as it relates to students of color. Those are my top three. Um, the education system traditionally was not set up, especially when you consider that segregation, um, and all of those things, well, segregation, civil rights, the desegregation of schools, we're still working within a system that was set up to not necessarily serve students of color. So I'm super passionate about being a part of changing those systems so that every single kid gets the learning experience that they deserve. And then my last area that I want to talk about is running. Well, my fitness and health and exercise. That's my third major area that I'm really passionate about. Um, it is an uphill battle for me for a lot of different reasons, and I'm gonna really spend some time talking about all those different reasons as we go through this process. But hey, Andy. Hey, Nicole, thank you. Yeah, this is my favorite T-shirt. I'm gonna close with talking about my T-shirt, um, right at the end. So about 5 years ago, come on, Jenna. But Jenna, look, I run really, really slow, and that kind of so. I run. That's the primary. Like, if I'm gonna do something, then hey, Brian, good to see you. If I'm gonna do something, then I'm gonna run. I started running about 5 years ago. My dad actually got me started with running. He was a runner. He ran every morning, like at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I do the same. Uh oh, hold on, guys. I'm getting a little feedback, so I gotta move some pieces around because I'm getting some feedback. Let me mute that. Getting a little feedback, so I wanna just slow down just a bit so I can put some mute. There we go. And so my dad is the one who convinced me to run. I was not a fan of running. Had no interest in it, and I really did not believe that I was capable of running whatsoever. Like, I didn't believe I could run. Hey, cousin, thanks for hopping in. Um, and so he was like, "Nah, you can do it. You can do it." So I was like, "Well, if my dad could do it, then I could do it as well." And so I started running really slow. Um, I picked up. I started doing like 5Ks. I think 2016 I did one 5K every month. Life got in the way with me, and I really slowed down probably the last 2 years. But I can say that I have finished one half marathon, and going into 2019, I'm actually going to run my second half marathon. Now, if you don't know what a half marathon is, 13 miles. A full marathon is 26 miles. At this point in my life, maybe like a big milestone birthday or something, but at this point in my life, I don't see myself wanting to run a half just because it's uh so heavy on the body physically. Um I don't see it happening. But who know? I also said I would never run, and I'm running. So you know, who's to say? Um, I run slow. I'm a slow runner, so I always tell people I don't run fast. I don't have a high pace, but I could probably outrun you in time. So I could, at this point, I can run about an hour and a half solid, or an hour and a half with maybe 2 to 3 1 minute breaks. Um, I'm not a small person to say the least. When people see me, they don't immediately think athlete, and that's okay. That's why it's so important to me that I talk about this, because I don't think if you feel like you can relate to me and my story in that regards, then I think it's important that I share my process and my struggles. And yeah, Alice, 13 miles around mile 10, you start thinking around mile 10, you start regretting it, but you're so close to the end that you're like, well, we're here now. But between 8 and mile 10, you start going, why am I here? But then you finish, you're like, but I did it. um, so I, so I run slow, but I run and I go for endurance and long time periods instead of trying to run for speed. So if you're fast, you'll beat me, but you probably won't run as long as I can run. And I'm really gonna spend a lot of time talking about running, talking about PCOS. I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian disorder or disease, and or yeah, syndrome. Excuse me, syndrome, polycystic ovarian syndrome. I'm gonna talk about it and kind of go through how it's connected to lifestyle and eating and health and all that good stuff. Um, as we move forward, I'll make a point to when I describe these sessions, I will just take some time to make sure that I explain, like, if it's educator focused or fitness focused. That way, you can know before you even start watching if it's something that you're really interested in or not. Yeah, Jenna, it really is a mental game. Most, I would say, well, on the food side, I think it's 90% a mental game. Um, in this country, sugar is so addictive, so addictive. Um, and then the physical fitness, at least for me, has less to do with the mental side, because once I'm out there, I can do it, and it's just being able to physically like endure. But I have to agree with you 100% on that. That it is physically challenging. I will say, and I'm gonna drop that link in there right now. I use an app, and it's called Running. And what I like about this app specifically, so if anyone out there is interested in downloading a really good app, this one I do like, because it does levels. So they have like running for weight loss, running for 5K, running for 10K, maybe a half. But they level it. So if you and I'm looking for it so I can pop it in there. If you maybe you're new to running, you've never ran before, that's something that, you just want to give it a try. This app will level it for you. I also need to add that any exercise that you were thinking about doing, you need to also make sure that you see a doctor. Always, always. Hey, cousin. Thanks for popping in. So I'm going to drop that one in there as well, just because it's just a great, great, great app. And like I said, they have multiple levels, multiple levels, multiple skills. For me, I'm big on verbiage. Verbiage is very important. And so if it says run, that's like I can't run for a long time, but if they are telling me to jog, I'm more likely to jog and get more done. So for me that does wonders for helping me have the right verbiage to be able to move forward. All right, I've got about 3 minutes to spare. If you have any questions, please just drop those questions in the comments box. I want to make sure I'm just scrolling up to make sure that I um gave everybody some love. I really appreciate you guys for hopping in. I'm excited about the hey, Mr. H, I see you. I see you. Thanks for stopping in. So if you have any questions, just drop them. Ha ha! No, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. Look, Jenna is a whole 30 queen. She has the restraint. When we have to come, I may have to have you come on here and we talk about that. She has a willpower like nothing I've ever seen. I'm streaming through multiple areas, so I'm just kind of going through and making sure that I have okay, good. Just making sure. And I'll work on this lighting and spacing and all that. This is my first time ever doing it, so it's just going to be a learning curve for me. Oh my gosh. Hey, Miss Howard. Look at there. The best Miss Howard. Hey, Miss Howard. So, I'm not big on socks. Socks don't mean much to me. Uh, thank you. Thanks, Alice. Socks don't mean much for me, but I know for some people they're really important. So, like, for my husband, he wears like a compression sock that really holds the foot together. I would say socks don't matter, but what does matter is the type of shoe. I'm running overweight, so I weigh more than I should. And when I first started running, I purchased just shoes because I didn't know any better. So I just bought shoes. And I would probably get through maybe a week and a half or maybe 3 to 5 runs. And between the cramping, the shin splits, the leg pain, I would give up. And this was back in 2014. No, probably even as early as 2012. Um, and so what I found I had to do was I had to go to the store and purchase a really, really, really great pair of running shoes. If you've never been to a running store, I highly recommend that everyone go. In the Dallas Fort Worth area, the main running store is Run On. I think they go by a different name. Um, oh wow, Alice, yes, that's phenomenal. Yes, that is phenomenal. 17 down. It takes really good commitment to do Whole 30. And so if you're able to do it, yeah, you probably I would say so here's the other good thing about the socks. So if you go in store cuz the older we get, we have to really take care of our feet. They can hook you up with socks and either compression if that's what you need, if you need some that are more breathable that have like they're more airy. Um I would say hit up the run store, and I actually think they go by a different name. So if anyone is in the DFW area, this is the big one. There are a couple of other ones. This is just the one I use. And I also need to add that every one of these links I'm dropping are not sponsored. This is just literally what I use. So if I ever have a sponsor, I'll always be transparent and let you know. But this is the first episode. Um, I'm gonna drop that link in there for Run On, but there are other some smaller retailers as well in the DFW area and across the nation, and I always suggest people to go in. Their shoes are a bit more pricey. You need to plan to spend anywhere from $80 to $120. I hope that goes in right. Um, but if you haven't gotten your shoe fit, if you haven't gotten a fit for your, like, if you haven't done that, then you're just gonna you're gonna be in pain. Um, yes, Alice, a lot of people find out that their shoes, like, you have two different. Everybody's feet are usually not perfect symmetrical. The jeans, um, and so if you've never been fitted for a shoe, you need to get fitted for a shoe. Um, the second piece to that, yeah. If you're getting blisters, the second piece for that is to take your pace down. Take your pace down, run slower, more measured running, and then um, run every other day. Those would be my other two. So take your pace down because you shouldn't either take your pace down or take your distance down because you shouldn't be getting blisters. Nothing about a run should really hurt. So I always tell people run slow enough that it's not painful because over time you'll build the endurance to run harder longer. But that's just me. That's like my opinion. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. Oh yeah, that Jenna, you're right. That's another good idea. If you can, go to a foot doctor and see what they can tell you about your feet, especially the what we can do in a flimsy pair of shoes when we were 20 and 21. You really have to take care of your feet. Because if you don't, healthy feet, you can't run. You can't run slow. You can't work. It just doesn't work. I also need to add that walking is like I walk. And I walked for a long time before I built up to running. And walking is just as beneficial, and sometimes walking is even more beneficial because it's not as hard on the joints. So if you can walk. If you can walk 30 minutes, walk 30 minutes. If you can walk an hour, walk an hour. Like, don't feel like if you're not walking, you're not doing anything. Hey, cousin. Thanks for stopping in. That's my favorite oldest cousin, but that's only because she's my oldest cousin. Yes, yeah, Alice. So if you can walk. You can walk forever. I'm gonna drop another link in here. It's something I'm trying out right now. I'll give y'all updates on it. It's called Step Bet. It's under the same company as I'm running a little. No, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm running a little bit over, but it's okay. It's run by the same company that does Healthy Wage. If anybody's ever heard of Healthy Wage, and I'll probably end with this. And so what you do is you make a bet. It's about 40, anywhere from 20 to 40 bucks, and they count your steps. They give you a certain amount of steps that you're required to complete, and if you complete those steps, you get your money back plus a little bit. Hey, Mr. Kevin. Thanks for hopping in. So I'm going to drop that in as well. It's called Step Bet, Count Your Steps. It has just forced me to move more. I've been working on trying to do a mile every single day. And so with the Step Bet and knowing that my 40 bucks is on the line, I have to walk a certain amount of steps 6 days a week. No excuses. And it's just made me a little more active. I'm not going to get rich. I will probably make $5 more, maybe, if I'm successful. Hey. If I'm successful, we're looking at, let's see, it's 6 weeks long. I have 2.5 weeks left. And so I've lost a little bit of weight. I've definitely lost like some inches. And it's just kept me like on, like, I've been running circles around my kitchen sink and just really trying to make sure I meet the step count every day. So if running is not for you, walk. Walking is that one of the healthiest things you can do to your joints because it's just not as heavy in your joints. So I'll give it like another 30 seconds. If I have any more questions, drop them in. Otherwise, I'm going to begin to close with my final thoughts. Just want to make sure I got all my questions answered in my different platforms. All right, so to wrap up, hey, Miss Marlin, thanks for hopping in. To wrap up tonight, I wore one of my favorite shirts. I call this my airport shirt. I don't know if you can see it, but I call it my airport shirt because I often wear it in the airport, and it says, "I am my ancestors' wildest dream." And I just believe that the work that I do is meant to pay homage to my ancestors, my grandparents, my great grandparents, my parents, um, because 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 100 years ago, they would have never been able to foresee um, the kind of work people like me are doing. Not in their kids, not in their grandkids, and I want to continue to honor that. And that's what all of this is about. Like, how can I make the world a better place, um, while paying homage to all of the folks that helped me, um, whether they knew it or not, get to the point of being able to help those around me. So that's what all of this is about. I'm gonna drop my email address in the comment box on Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook at Martine Innovates, and that's where I'll do the majority of my communications. My email address, I'm gonna drop that in the comments as well. If you would like to come on and let's just talk. Let's talk about whatever the things that are important to you regarding parenting, regarding family, um, health and fitness, or education. Let's talk about it. If you need advice, like people come to me with advice, with questions all the time, whether it be professional or personal. And so I'm gonna do a section that's called Ask Marty B. My husband calls me Marty B. And so Ask Marty B. You will remain anonymous. So I will, change all the names, no one will know it's you. But a lot of times, whatever the struggles we are that we have that we're going through, we're probably not the only one. So, I'm hoping as questions come in that if you have a question regarding any of those areas, send it to my inbox. You'll be anonymous, or do it with your trash email. Everybody has a trash email, all their spam. Send me an email using your spam if you want to ensure that you are completely anonymous. And I will do my best to answer your questions or find someone who'd be willing to share their own answers. I'm Martine Brown. This is Martine Innovation Specialist, and I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. Thanks for coming in.